So here we go. We're looking at the this Windows, the scanit software application. It's a simple little application that gathers installed software from Windows computers around the network. Its claim to fame is that it does it very, very fast. It's it doesn't do anything particularly glorified with that information. It simply will tell you what software is installed on the machines, and it will send you emails if software that you haven't previously told it is authorized. If new software appears, if unauthorized software appears on the network, it will send you emails to whoever you've designated as a recipient of emails. It will send emails to say that unauthorized software has appeared. So the freeware version, you have to enter the IP address of the SQL server every time. With the licensed version, it remembers this last SQL server, and so when you start the application, it starts like this. It effectively automatically goes to the SQL server, opens the SQL server, gets from the SQL server the last address space that you scanned and the number of nodes in that address space. So as soon as it opens, it's ready to go. To fire it off, click the scan button. If you keep an eye on this area down here, this tells you what it's done, how far it's got, one thing or another, and there's a progress bar goes across the screen here, which will give you a visual indication as to what it's doing at the same time. So let's fire this off, and I hit scan, and we go down the bottom, and we immediately see it's done 21 nodes, and now it's done 254. It doesn't do 255 because 255 is a broadcast address, so it skips that. So that was it. 254 nodes done in 3 seconds, and that was it. That's all the software on the machines on a Class C network in 3 seconds. Now, this network only has a couple of boxes on it, a couple of servers. So one would say, oh, well, that's not a fair test because you didn't have anything on it. You only had a couple of boxes. The reality is the software, when it runs, it checks each IP address in the range. If there's no response, it waits. So an unpopulated network is slower than a populated network because it will wait for an inactive node to respond. It slows it down. So that was 3 seconds on a Class C network with only 2 boxes on it. So it would have had slowed down quite considerably. So let's have a look at what results we've got here. We look at nodes. We can see these are nodes it's found. My domain admin rights allow the software to probe anything on the domain. And what do we have here? We have these 2 boxes which are on the domain and it could probe. These are other boxes that it found on the network in that address space, but they're not on the domain. So this is a machine not on the domain. This is a laptop not on the domain. This is a printer not on the domain. That's a mobile phone not on the domain. That's another printer, and that's another laptop, and that's a router. All of which these are not on the domain. We can make notes against these items. We can make a note here. This isn't editable, but to make that note, we simply scroll across to the little note drop down. We type in here, save that, click on OK, and this little pencil indicates that it's in edit mode. As soon as we move to another record, whatever we put in there would be saved. And we know we're no longer in edit mode when the little triangle reappears. So let's save that. And if we go back to that previous record, because we just moved one down, we'll see that whatever we typed in would appear there, although I didn't type anything in, so nothing's changed. So these are the nodes found on the network, but we were looking for software, so let's go and see the software that it's found. This is the software that it found on the network, and this is what it's showing us here. So for instance, Windows Internet Explorer 8, there's 2 instances of that found on the network. Let's click on here and see what we can see about it. Again, here we can have notes. The previous window we were putting notes in for the nodes. Here we would make notes for this software as a type, generically. So Windows Internet Explorer 8, anywhere on the network, these notes would apply to it. Down here we're looking at instances of that software and what the very instances on machines, so we can make notes against that. So those notes are machine specific, so we can make notes about SQL Server on a specific server as opposed to SQL Server generally. So here we can see we have Windows Internet Explorer 8, 2 instances of it. What boxes are those 2 instances on? We click on the instances found. These are the 2 boxes that have Internet Explorer 8 on them. Any one of these, same service pack. There's a service pack. What machines is that service pack on? Those 2. Another service pack, same, those 2. These icons here, the red icon means no information. The blue one says it does have information. The information it's referring to is the information that the vendors included in the installation set by way of a URL to their site, giving more information about their application. One of the best covered areas of this is the Microsoft security patches and one thing or another. So we can say, this security patch, what is it? What does it do? I'd like to know more. I click on the blue question mark. It pops up. It takes me directly to the Microsoft site, directly to that service pack, and I can read about it, see what that does, and what the significance of that is. So that's just a quick and a nice little feature there. We have charts. The charts will, which we'll cover in a separate thing. Charts will give you an indicate the most common software, the most widespread software, the most out of date software, the most recent software, and various things like that. So there's also different views on it like that. Now there is another version of this which is called the scanit license manager. And that effectively has all of the functionality of this application, but in addition, it allows you to record purchasing and licensing and one thing and another, and then it will highlight that when it finds software that's above the licensing, so provided you tell it about purchasing and licensing and one thing or another, what it will do is it will send emails and tell you you've exceeded your licensing, but it shows you graphs and one thing or another, which allows you to see where you're over licensed, under licensed, and over licensed. So if you could possibly be saving money by actually cutting back on licenses, because obviously licensing isn't all about how you're infringing licenses and what you owe the vendors. Frequently, the case will be that you don't, as staff rotate, that you purchase more software to cater for new staff, but you're not actually taking it off the other end, and so you end up with a good number of over-licensed applications. Thank you very much. Thank you for your patience, because I know I'm very bad at this. Thank you.